Hey folks, it's Abby from Abby of Pelennor, and today I'm going to be going through the 2 variants of my January TBR. Yes, I said 2. So after having a very relaxed last 3 reading months of 2021, I didn't want to delve too deeply in with my first TBR of 2022, but I also wanted to take part in the Goodreads Choice Readathon hosted by Sam from Griff Reads. So I set a TBR that I can do that does all of her challenges with one book, as well as some books that I'd like to read. And then I also set a TBR with 1 book for each challenge, and depending on how well I do in my reading, it depends on what I'll actually read. So let's get into the books. Now I'm actually going to start off with a book that I will not be finishing this month, and that is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. I'm going to be buddy reading this with Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe. Last year we did the same thing but with War and Peace, and yep, we're starting again. As you can see, I'm filming this in January, so we've already started and we're going to be reading a chapter every day. We might do the 2 chapters on weekends, we're not sure yet, but we're at least reading 1 chapter every day to get through this beast of a book. This actually should be a lot quicker to read than War and Peace, which weirds out my tiny brain because they're physically about the same size, but the writing in this one's bigger and the chapters are a bit bigger, so we should finish this a lot sooner. I don't know too much about this. It is the story of Edmond Dantes, a self-styled Count of Monte Cristo, and it's told with consummate skill. It starts off, because we've obviously read the first 2 chapters, it's the 3rd today. It starts off with them having returned from a voyage on a ship, and he sees the guy who owns the ship and he's like, awesome, and then he goes sees his dad. This is how far we've gotten. I'm enjoying it so far. So yes, I will be reading, hopefully, 31 chapters of this. Then for an obvious one, to anyone who watches, it is Bedlam by Landy. This is the next book in the Skullduggery Pleasant series. This is a series which starts out as middle grade with a young girl being introduced to the world of magic in Ireland by a walking, talking skeleton detective. It goes on from there. It is YA by this point. It's a long series. I think this is number 12-ish. And yes, I'm doing a reread of this with the Dead Famous read-along. Everyone else there is reading these for the first time. They're great fun, very excited to delve into it. I think most of you know this by now. Then we have A Marvellous Light by Freya Marske, and this is my Illumicrate book. So I got my first ever Illumicrate in December, and this is the gorgeous, stunning book that came in the box. And so because this is my first ever Illumicrate, I really want to make an effort to do the read-along on the Discord. I've never done that before. It starts on the 15th of January, and I'm really excited to delve into this with everyone. It is a nice short read. It's only 350-ish pages, so it should be a nice quick read, and I'm really excited to delve into this. And then we go on to the Goodreads Choice Readathon adjacent book, and that is because one of the prompts is to do a poll pick. And so I got my partner to go on and pick one as well. I was like, go pick it, I'm only having this up for a couple hours, I need more numbers. Go pick a book. And the one that he picked didn't win, and he was very upset, so I added it to my TBR. Also, I just got this in December and I'm really excited for it, and that is How to Be an Antiracist by Ibram x Kendi. This I picked up in the Waterstones half-price hardback sale. It does what it says on the tin, and I'm really excited to read this and to learn a lot more. There's not much to be said about this one. And then we get on to the actual books that I'm reading for the Goodreads Choice read-along. So the one that covers every single one of the prompts is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. So as you can see, I've started this. I am 90 pages in and I'm loving it so far. This is actually the book that won the poll pick. I put it in there just in case, just to see if it could win and count for all of the categories, and it did. Which means that I can have this count for every single prompt. However, given that I'm showing you the full TBR, this, if I read them all, will count for the poll pick. And then possibly all the others. We'll see, we'll see. This is a Men in Black style fantasy middle grade where this young girl, her older brother has been missing, presumed dead, and she is refusing to admit that he is dead. She feels it in her soul that he's still alive, and she ends up being recruited into the same organisation that her brother had been working for. It is a secret organisation, Men in Black style, with supernatural beings rather than aliens, and that is about as far as I've got without giving you any spoilers about what's going on in the book, I'm adoring it so far and I can't wait to see how it goes. So for the rest of the prompts, the first one I'm filling is the 5-star prediction, which is Exit Strategy by Marvellous. This is the 4th book in the Murderbot Diaries, which is a collection of sci-fi, mainly novellas. There is one full novel, and I adore them so much. We follow a sentient AI robot that calls itself Murderbot, and all it wants to do is sit and watch soap operas that it's downloaded into its brain all day, but it can't. It has to save the humans. It's so fun. I laugh out loud when I'm reading these. This was gifted to me by my mother-in-law this Christmas, so I'm super excited to get to it, and it's nice and short. I have given all other 3 Murderbot books 5 stars. I'm not expecting anything different. Fantastic. Then the prompt to judge a book by its cover, and what other book could I go for than The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I was gifted this by my aunt this Christmas, and I'm so excited to get to this. I'm so jealous of the hardcover edition because it's got these gorgeous pink elements in the clouds, which really makes the book pop, but I do still like this cover. And this is about a man named Linus Baker, and he kind of goes and inspects orphanages and homes for children without their parents, and this one happens to be magical. I don't know much more. Let's see. Okay, so they're wanting to look after the children and they're seen as a risk, but he's like, no, they're not a risk. Okay, cool. I'm really excited for this one. Everyone has been saying so many wonderful things about this. I have heard some issues with some indigenous to the North Americas individuals not liking that TJ Klune has kind of, in their opinion, appropriated the story of the residential schools that their people were forced into up until quite recently. I don't know, I apologise, it's not my history, but the 80s or the 90s. He said that he was inspired by this and that he wanted to write a story about it. Some people who are indigenous are fine with it, some aren't. Please do look into this yourself. For the second last prompt, it is a book with representation, and not intentionally, but leading on from my last comments, we have The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley, and this was written by someone who is indigenous to the North Americas, indigenous to the area we now call the United States of America. So that led on quite nicely, didn't mean to do that. So I'm going to read from the cover for this because I'm going to say it wrong regardless and I'd like to give it the best shot. This is based around the Ojibwe tribe in the North Americas, and 18-year-old Dumas' mixed heritage has always made her feel like an outsider, both in her hometown and on the nearby Ojibwe reservation. When she witnesses a shocking murder, she reluctantly agrees to be part of a covert FBI operation into a series of drug-related deaths, but the deceptions and deaths keep piling up and soon threat strikes too close to home. Now Dumas must decide what it means to be a strong Anishinaabe, an Ojibwe woman, and how far she'll go to protect her community, even if it tears apart the only world she's ever known. So I know little to nothing about the native people to the North Americas, the indigenous people, and I would love to learn some more, and I think that this book is a great place to start. And then the last prompt for the Goodreads Choice Read-Along is a book outside your comfort zone. And for me, I probably won't get around to this one, let's be honest guys, but I'm going with The President is Missing by James Patterson and Bill Clinton. This is borrowed, stolen, taken, gifted from my dad. He's read it. Once he's read a book, he gets rid of it. I nabbed this one. I have only read James Patterson's YA books. I adored the Maximum Ride series. I really liked the first 3 books that I've read of the Witch and Wizard series. I've never read anything from him that is adult, and most of the books that my dad reads, because he has read the vast majority of everything Patterson has ever published, so it's usually later on in a series, so I can't nick it from him. This one, however, of course, is the first one in the series, so I nabbed this while I could. I don't tend to read kind of action adventures. This is 500 pages long, but I want to read a Patterson because my dad loves them so much. And then I also think that this one's quite interesting with the insights that Bill Clinton has into life in the White House. I want to see how it develops. So that's why this is on my TBR. I should probably get around to it at some point. Maybe. And then yes, just if it wasn't clear for Amari and the Night Brothers, that is a 5-star prediction for me. It also has an absolutely stunning cover. It has great representation. We are following a young black girl in the United States. And the book is also outside of my comfort zone because, I don't know if you know, but I do not read a lot of middle grade. It has been, I think, a year since I last read some middle grade, so it is not a commonly read age bracket of mine, but I am adoring it so far, so I'm very glad that I picked this one up. Let me know down in the comments, folks, which books you are hoping to pick up in January, or, seeing as I'm posting this a little bit late, any books that you already read and enjoyed. If you'd like to see some more from me and how I end up reading in January and in the rest of 2022, as well as my reading stats for 2021, which will be coming out soon, then please do hit the subscribe button down below and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!